3 historians have died investigating this story.
Not from natural causes.
Not from accidents.
Each one discovered something that powerful people wanted buried forever.
This is the story they didn't want you to hear. This is what really happened.
Marcus Chan was archaeologist who discovered the sealed chamber. For years, he had pursued stories that others dismissed as conspiracy theories, but had been searching for this specific site for over a decade, and that experience taught him that the official version of history is often just the version that serves those in power. When he first heard rumors about the cipher manuscript, he knew he had to investigate. What he discovered would consume the next 3 years of his life.
The year was 1943. The darkest days of the occupation, when collaboration and resistance blurred into moral gray zones. Wartime occupation, resistance networks, secret police. It was against this backdrop that the events we're about to explore unfolded. Events that were carefully erased from official records, hidden behind classifications that wouldn't be lifted for decades. But paper has a way of surviving, even when people want it destroyed. And the paper trail Marcus Chan followed would lead to places he never expected. He began his investigation in occupied France, where locals still whispered about what had happened all those years ago. The official story was well known, repeated in textbooks and documentaries. But Marcus Chan wasn't interested in the official story. He was looking for the gaps, the contradictions, the details that didn't quite fit. And he found them. In abandoned archives. In private collections. In the memories of people who were there, whose stories had never been recorded. The breakthrough came gradually, not all at once. Marcus Chan spent months in dusty archives, reading documents that no one had touched in decades. He tracked down relatives of the key players, many of whom had kept papers they weren't supposed to have. He cross-referenced dates, names, places, looking for the patterns that would reveal what really happened. The first anomaly appeared in financial records. Transactions that made no sense according to the official timeline. Payments to people who shouldn't have been involved. Transfers of property that contradicted sworn testimony.
Marcus Chan made copies of everything, working late into the night, piecing together a financial trail that told a very different story from the one in the history books. Then came the physical evidence.
The cipher manuscript wasn't found in a museum or an archive.
It was discovered in a private collection, hidden behind a false wall in a cellar that had been sealed for 60 years. The contents were extraordinary: personal diary entries, financial records, and coded communications. Each piece contradicted the official narrative in some crucial way. Each piece raised new questions about what had really happened in 1943. But the real treasure was the documents. Documents that he wasn't supposed to see. Documents that had been classified, redacted, or simply destroyed according to official records. Yet here they were, preserved by someone who had foresight, or perhaps just luck. Marcus Chan spent 3 weeks carefully cataloging everything, photographing pages, making notes. He knew that he was holding history in his hands. History that powerful people had tried to bury. What Marcus Chan uncovered was nothing short of extraordinary. Revealed hidden motivations and secret alliances. The established narrative, the one taught in schools and repeated in documentaries, began to crumble as the new evidence emerged. The dates didn't match. The motives were wrong. The key players had been lying, and they had been covering their tracks for decades. Let's look at the evidence in detail. According to the official records, the key decisions were made in March of 1943. But the documents Marcus Chan found proved that the crucial meetings happened in January, 2 months earlier. Why does this matter? Because it changes everything we thought we knew about the motivations of the people involved. It means they weren't reacting to events as they claimed. They were planning them. Then there's the question of the missing correspondence. For years, historians have wondered why there are no letters between the main figures during the critical period. The official explanation was that they were destroyed in a fire. But Marcus Chen found copies of those letters in the hidden archive.
They weren't destroyed. They were hidden.
And they reveal conversations that are completely at odds with the public positions these figures took.
The financial records tell an even darker story. Money flowing to accounts that shouldn't exist.
Payments for services that were never officially acknowledged. A network of corruption that extended far beyond what anyone had suspected. Marcus Chen traced these payments through multiple intermediaries, following a paper trail that led to some of the most powerful people of the era.
People who had every reason to want this story buried forever. And then there's the eyewitness testimony.
Accounts from people who were there, recorded before they died, that contradict the official version in crucial details.
These weren't conspiracy theorists or attention seekers.
These were professionals, experts, people with no reason to lie. Yet their stories were suppressed, ignored, or dismissed as unreliable. Marcus Chen found their original statements, preserved in the archive, and they paint a very different picture from what we've been told.
But perhaps the most disturbing part of Marcus Chen's discovery wasn't what happened in 1943. It was what happened afterward. The cover-up was systematic, organized, and remarkably effective. It involved government agencies, academic institutions, and private individuals with deep pockets and long memories. And it worked.
For decades, the official narrative went unchallenged.
Anyone who asked questions was dismissed, discredited, or worse. Marcus Chen found evidence of this suppression in the archive too. Internal memos discussing how to handle inconvenient researchers.
Lists of documents that needed to be removed from public access.
Instructions to key personnel about what they should and shouldn't say.
It was a sophisticated operation, designed to control the historical narrative and protect powerful interests.
The methods were varied and effective.
Some documents were simply classified, locked away in vaults where no one could see them.
Others were allegedly destroyed, though Marcus Chen's discovery proves that some copies survived.
Researchers who got too close to the truth found their funding cut, their access denied, their careers stalled. It was a message, clear and chilling: some stories are not meant to be told.
Marcus Chen faced these obstacles personally. He was denied access to archives that should have been open.
He was warned by colleagues to drop the investigation. He received anonymous messages suggesting that he should look elsewhere for his research. But he persisted, driven by the belief that historical truth matters, and that the public deserves to know what really happened.
Showed that public actions were driven by private debts and blackmail.
But the implications go far beyond this single event.
If the official narrative of World War II is wrong, what else have we been misled about? How many other historical events have been carefully constructed to serve particular interests? The questions are uncomfortable, but they need to be asked.
Historians have long debated the reliability of official sources. We know that history is written by the victors, that power shapes memory, that what we call facts are often just the stories that survived.
But Marcus Chen's discovery provides concrete proof of how this process works. We can see the mechanisms of historical manipulation laid bare. And once you see them, you can't unsee them.
The academic community is divided on how to respond.
Some historians have embraced the new evidence, incorporating it into revised narratives that better fit the facts. Others have resisted, defending the established accounts against what they see as unfounded speculation. The debate is fierce, personal, and ongoing. Careers are at stake. Reputations. Lifetimes of work built on foundations that may not be as solid as we thought. But the most important question isn't academic. It's moral. If we were lied to about World War II, who benefited from that lie? And who suffered because the truth was hidden? These are questions that go beyond historical curiosity. They touch on issues of justice, accountability, and the kind of society we want to live in. History isn't just about the past. It's about how we understand ourselves in the present.
Marcus Chen published his findings in a book that immediately became controversial.
Reviews were polarized, ranging from enthusiastic praise to outright condemnation.
Some called it the most important historical work of the decade.
Others dismissed it as conspiracy-mongering unworthy of serious attention.
The book was banned in some countries, celebrated in others. Marcus Chen became both celebrated and vilified, depending on who you asked. But the evidence speaks for itself.
Independent researchers have verified the key documents.
Forensic analysis has confirmed their authenticity. The questions Marcus Chen raised have not been answered. If anything, the official narrative looks less convincing with each passing year as more documents are declassified and more evidence emerges. Marcus Chen continues to work, despite the controversy. He believes that historical truth matters, that we have a right to know what really happened, and that the efforts to suppress this story are themselves evidence of its importance.
He has faced threats, legal challenges, and professional isolation.
But he has also received messages of support from people around the world who believe, as he does, that some truths are worth fighting for.
The full truth may never be known. Too many records have been destroyed, too many witnesses silenced. But what remains is enough to challenge everything we thought we understood. History is rarely as simple as the textbooks claim.
And sometimes, the most important stories are the ones that powerful people tried hardest to bury.